So let's continue talking about scanner here. There's a few other methods that we can use besides just nextLine. Okay, so we used nextLine yesterday to get the name of a person using our program here. A couple other methods that we can use here. Okay, so nextInt, okay, will read and give us an int. Okay. Next double, big surprise, will read and give us a double. All right. So there's some other next methods that we can use, but these are the ones that we're going to use most often. Okay. If we use scanner, we're going to get the next line. We're going to get next int. We're going to get next double. There's another one that's called just next, and that also reads and gives us a string. And there's a difference between next and nextLine, and I'm going to show you through an example, and then we'll come back and we'll edit this a little bit more. But we have those three methods, and then the other method that we used yesterday that we didn't really include in here was the close method. Okay, so we want to make sure that we put that in there, and that basically does what it sounds like it does. It closes off this scanner so that we finish it off. If we forget to close a scanner when we're using the console, not the biggest deal in the world, but scanners can also be used to read files, and if you don't close a connection to a file, you can really mess up the file or what do they call it? I can't think of the word right now, but the file can be corrupted. Excuse me. Yeah. So we don't want to have to. If we don't close it, we can corrupt the file. Okay. So we want to use this. We want to close the scanner when we're done using the scanner. Anybody need more time? So then what we want to do is we want to kind of use those in some other examples. So after we say hello to the user here, I'm going to put in a couple more lines of code right here, and we're going to prompt for some other things. So I'm just going to put prompt for other stuff. First thing that we're going to prompt for is we're going to ask for the person's address. So system.print, we're going to put enter your address. Okay. And what type of variable do you think the address should be? Should it be an int? Should it be a double, Boolean, a string? Probably string, right? Because it's a mix of different characters. So we're going to use string for address. And we're just going to we're going to do what we did before. Okay, so yesterday what we did is we said declare string name and then make name equal to console.nextLine. We're going to just do that in one line down here. So we're going to go string address equals console.nextLine. All right, and then we're going to prompt for a couple other things. So let's do system.out.print, and we're going to go ahead and say enter your age. Okay, what type of variable should the age be? What kind of an answer would you expect once you say, hey, how old are you? A whole number, right? So an int, we'll call it age. And now we're going to go console.nextInt. Now I want to point something out to you guys so that, like, especially those of you who are not as fast typers, okay? When I start doing this, okay, I want you to watch what I'm doing. Don't necessarily like try to catch up to me right now. So if I go int age equals and I go console dot, okay, what Eclipse does for you is it tries to help you out and give you like the different methods that you might want to use. So it's listing out, in this case, hash code, nextInt with something else inside of it, radix, okay, has next returns a Boolean is what that's saying. So that's not really going to help me very much. Okay, but if I know that I want to use nextInt, when I start typing n, it eliminates the hash code and it starts just working with things that have nextInt. Now, nextInt is kind of in gray right now, okay? And so if you look up here, if I just hit enter right now, it's going to fill in nextInt for me. So if I hit enter, okay, it just fills in the rest for me. And I can put in my semicolon, and now I'm ready to keep moving. Okay, so you want to kind of get used to that. When it starts filling things in for you, kind of pay attention to what it's filling in for you, and you just go ahead and use it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do system.out.print, and then we're going to do enter your GPA. Okay, so what should the GPA be? What type of value should that be? A double, right? It's a rational number. It's going to have a decimal point in it, so we're going to use a double. Okay, GPA is equal to console dot, and now what am I going to do right now on the keyboard? Just hit enter, right? Because it's got next double highlighted for me. That's what I want to use. So I'm just going to hit enter, and now it just fills in next double for me. So that's really nice. Okay. I'm going to add a little more stuff here, and then I'm going to let you guys catch up to me. So all I'm going to do is just output all the information that we've done so far. So I'm going to go system.out.println. I'm just going to leave it like this, so we have like a blank line there, and then system.out.println, and I'm going to put in here name equals, and then I'm going to do something else that's a little bit different from what we did yesterday. So yesterday we did system.out.print hello, but that was just print, and then we printed a line with the name. And so today I'm going to kind of combine these two lines, and the way that you combine those two lines is after this quote mark here, you put a plus, and then you put the variable that you want to add on to that. Okay, so I'm going to do that for each of my variables here. So system.out.println, okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is age equals, and now for me, what I do to get out of this quote mark is I hit the tab button. That gets me out of there and into this little space right here, plus the age variable. And I hit tab again to get out of there. System.out.println. Okay, you just keep doing the same thing with GPA. Okay, that equals plus GPA. And I'm going to do the last thing was the address. So then the next example that I want to do is just to change what's going on with the address. And so I'm going to show you kind of what the difference between next and nextLine is. Okay, so the way that we got the address here was we did console.nextLine. But if we said like, well, I want each of these parts to be separate. I want to get the number, the direction, the street name, and then the street type as separate variables. I can do that as well, and that's when I would use the next. All right, so I'm going to do the exact same stuff up here, just we're going to change what's going on right here. So I'm going to say this is the street number, and I'm going to change this here from console.nextLine to console.next. Okay? And then I'm going to go string street direction equals console.next. String, okay, so 1801 West. Olive is the street name. Again, console.next. And I'm just hitting return there or enter to get the next to fill in. Okay, string street type. Again, console dot, and then it says, oh, you want to use next again? Hit enter, fills in next for me. Okay. And then, so the whole idea behind this is that that's a way that we can use this to like split up the input that we're doing and separate it into different categories here. So down here now, address is underlined, okay? And the reason that address is underlined is because I don't have an address variable anymore. I have these 4 variables that I can kind of add together to make the address variable. But let's just go ahead and put in here that we want just the address, just the street name. Okay, so I'm going to change this from address to street name. And over here I'm going to put street name. Okay, and as I was walking around, I kind of noticed that this is maybe hard to decipher for you guys. So I'm just going to put spaces in between the plus sign to make that a little bit easier to read. Okay, the computer just ignores those extra white spaces, but it's nice for us to put those in so that we can read our code a little bit better. Okay, so now when I run this and go through the same thing, Tom, okay, 1801 West Olive Street, 40, let's say I did a little bit better in school here, 3.45, okay? Now when I hit enter, okay, now it's putting down Tom 40, 3.45, and street name equals Olive. Okay, whereas before it put the whole address as my whole address that I put in. This time it's just reading each of those parts individually. Okay, so I just moved the console down to here. This time it's reading each of those parts individually. So street number is going to be 1801. Street direction is going to be W or west. Street name is going to be Olive. Street type is going to be street, right? So this could be like avenue or boulevard or something like that. Okay. So I'll let you guys copy that down in a second here, but let's go back up to the top so we can put something in our notes here. Say nextLine reads an entire line and gives us a string. Okay. Next, so I'm adding that in there. You guys make sense of that? Reads an entire line and gives us a string. Next, reads up to white space and gives us a string. So when I do 1801 space west, 1801 is just what I'm going to get when I read next, because there's a space after it. So next, 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 next. Okay, the same thing would happen if I use a tab, so that's another white space. Okay, hopefully then that makes sense to you, like what the difference between why we would use nextLine versus why we would use next. All right. And that's the second day of using Scanner.